Hi, I'm David, and I'm back with Magic ManaStrike. I thought I'd take a break from constructed ladder play with my standard Koth deck because there is a draft event open right now. Now, I'm a bit sad because I missed the standard event over the weekend, where you take your constructed deck and bring it into a higher stakes game mode. Those are typically very fun, but it's over and draft is live now, so let's get right to it. So remember that in draft, each time you pick a Planeswalker and you pick between cards, one to give to yourself, or two sets of cards, and each set gives one card to yourself and one card to your opponent. So between Kiora, Ajani, Nahiri, Domri, and Will and Rowan, I'll run with Will and Rowan. I don't usually play with these two, but they're blue and red, so they should be pretty powerful. I like the Hadron Scouts, but one option gives it to me and one gives it to my opponent. I think that the Ranger is too powerful for my opponent, so I'll take the other option. I will just give us both Ratchet Bomb. I don't think Phoenix Nest is very good for me. Hornet's Nest is pretty bad, but Ven Sentinel is pretty good. My opponent's other card is very good as well, so I'll take the Phoenix and give my opponent Hornet's Nest. I really don't want to give my opponent either of these two cards, so I'm just going to take the one that's better, and the one that's better is the set one. If I let my opponent have the Walking Ballista, that would have been very effective against the Homunculus, so I picked that one. Alright, my opponent is a Vivien. I think I would absolutely take Vivien right now. Like in this mode, if I was offered. Oh, that is my opponent's Planeswalker, actually. So, I'm going to Ratchet Bomb this group so that Vivien dies. And as I talk about in my constructed videos, typically I try to answer Planeswalker with Planeswalker, but I'm ahead right now because I was able to kill Vivien with just units with mana. So, wow. So Will missed the I placed Will in a place where he missed the battle, so I'm very likely going to lose this tower. Yeah, I mean, it's already gone. The Beloth is pretty powerful. High Tide Hermit I don't even think is worth anything right now. Because High Tide Hermit once he takes damage, he turns into a tower who just sits there. So, all right. Actually, I will play High Tide Hermit here because the Planeswalker is going to be frozen, so the Hermit's not going to take any damage. Okay. Unfortunately, even though I was a Planeswalker, I had the advantage with Planeswalkers. I had to give that up because I misplaced my second Planeswalker. Wow, Overrun. They chose to take Overrun. And then haven't used it all game. Oh, I see. Okay. I didn't really understand what was happening, but it's because I am not close to taking a Sub-Guardian. So my opponent doesn't have to, they just have to keep me from attacking a Sub-Guardian, which they did. And yeah, I mean, I was going to lose that game. Towards the end anyway, and honestly, that's because I misplaced the Planeswalker. That second copy of the Planeswalker. Or first. Was it my first one? Can't remember. But, okay. I'm gonna just pick Vivien. So this will be my first time playing with Vivien. And I'm pretty excited. So let's make sure to get some strong green cards. Fog is not that. Wow, but I don't want to give my opponent Haunted Guardian because Electrostatic Pummeler isn't too great, so I guess I'll do that, the spell. Yeah, I'll take the Sylvan Ranger. Sure. So both of us having Clockwork Beetles. I personally don't like Overrun. You only cast it once a game. I don't really like Giant Growth either, but I don't want to... Ratchet Bomb is just too good to be played multiple times a game that I don't want to give my opponent the Ratchet Bomb. So. Alright. Wow, my opponent gave me a Baloth. Alright, I think I will be winning this game. Uh-oh. Okay, so I do have to handle these units. Wow, they're actually taking down my tower very effectively. But, wow, the Howling Golem as well. I think I'm going to play Giant Growth on the Baloth, maybe the Howling Golem. Yeah, so here we go, Growth on the Baloth. Let's use Vivien's ability on the tower. So I do have a problem with this Domri. And the opponent chose to send in Vengevine through the bottom. But actually, so since these units, the Howling Golem and the Baloth, are still alive, I can probably turn this push into a full main Guardian right here. So just add the Howling Golem to finish it off. Didn't even need the Howling Golem. Vivien and the Sylvan Ranger were strong enough. So wow, yeah, Vivien, as shown in the previous game, this game, and some of my ladder play, green can totally overwhelm if you are unable to stop it. I think that's pretty characteristic of green, though, where the creatures are just so big that if you can answer it, it's over, but if you can't, it's also over in the other direction. Domri wasn't very good for my opponent. So for me, it's between Nahiri and Kiora. I'll go with Kiora. So Kiora's pretty defensive. I think I will take the, because I really don't want Fog. And the barracks are pretty good. And I should be able to answer the Goblin Artillery. Once again, the Sylvan Ranger is good, but Waygate is not very good unless you can take advantage of it. So I'll take the Dusk Ranger. The Rolling Slime inflicts damage when landing, but the Phoenix is very good for my opponent, whereas the Waygate is very difficult to use effectively. So I'll do that one. No, I can't give my opponent Sphinx. It's way more powerful than the Icefall Dragon, so I guess we're both taking Ratchet Bomb. Alright, Steve is a Will Rowan player. Okay, yeah, so the Haunted Guardian as an answer to that wasn't great. Melee AoE attacks ground units. So I need to answer this Athersquall Ancient. So I placed down my 2 ranged units, but then they would have gotten destroyed by the ground units, the AoE units or the air units would have gotten hit by the ground units, so I had to summon some ground units to back them up. Right, I don't really understand Kiora's ability here. It's because she's being frozen by... Wow, I think I just wasted a bunch of mana. But Will is going to die without needing to play my Kiora, so... actually, I'm not going to play the Sylvan Advocate here. What I'm going to do is build to a... No, I'm not even going to play a Beloth. Alright, I'm playing a Sylvan Advocate in the back, and I guess a Hornet's Nest, because I want my barracks back. There's barracks. So now these two should attack the building. I'm going to play Kiora because there's a minute 18 left, and I have 3 copies of her remaining. Was that a Waygate? Yeah, that Waygate was bizarrely placed. So that's actually a demonstration of my choice of giving my opponent the Waygate being especially powerful. And I played Giant Growth on the Werewolf there, because the Werewolf is probably my strongest unit. So there's one tower. I'm playing the Beloth to pressure my opponent on the second tower. I could actually build the push into a main Guardian attack right now, but I figured that that wouldn't be ultimately successful, and I'd rather just take the second sub-Guardian here when my opponent can't do hardly anything about it. Alright, I need another ranged unit back, so I'm playing Giant Growth out just to cycle to the Sylvan Advocate. And actually, ooh, that was unfortunate for me. I wish I could have played Barracks closer to the Waygate, but my opponent was just playing Waygate because they had it, not intentionally, and wow, look at that. I built to a 3-0 win. I think my opponent could have prevented the 3-0 win, but just gave up. Okay, so a Sylvan Advocate card. It's a newer one. It was added pretty recently, but people have been really liking it. And there, I really enjoyed it too. It's a very powerful for a 3-cost card. Nissa, not Vivien, so that's unfortunate. I think Nissa's weaker, and also Vraska. Garruk would have been a stronger option. I think I will not just limit myself to green cards, so I'll take Kiora again. Give my opponent Soul of Theros for Walking Ballista. I think I'd rather have the Spider because the Spider's cheaper. It's a very strong card, but it's 1 mana less. Retraction Helix moves the allies. I don't think I can give my opponent Wave Crash Triton. The Enclave Elite are just not good enough. So I'll take set 1. Wow, Actually, I am going to pick set 2 because it's the inverse of what I just denied, and I don't want to give my opponent Blinding Mage. So set 1, I think I've considered this thing before. The Homunculus just aren't good enough. Oh man, but the Core Entangler. And I already have a Kraken, alright. Haunted Guardian is better for me to have my opponent possess than Core Entangler is. Core Entangler can just do so much against me, so I chose the other option, even though the Homunculus aren't a very good unit in my opinion. I can maybe use the Homunculus with this Retraction Helix for something useful. So that's my plan right now. I'm going to try to answer the Planeswalker, so play out the Homunculus, and then snap everyone to the other lane. Did that not work? There it is. So, it was useful. Only in that it was able to answer, like, it didn't create a push to the tower, but it did bring my units to a place where they could help defend my other Sub-Guardian, but it wasn't particularly good. Once again, I placed that slime incorrectly. I'm hoping here that Kiora can... Yeah, so she can get the upper units, but also I need her to respond to this lower lane stuff. Wow, so I lost that tower. And they're gonna kill the Terrain Elemental. Things are looking very, very grim for me. And we can trace this back. It really started right away when my opponent was able to split his resources. And even with the Retraction Helix play, I was not able to respond to both lanes. And right now, my opponent's Planeswalker is just marching towards my main Guardian. So, I mean, I don't really have a response. I think I'm going to aim for the bottom tower. So make a really big push right now with everything I have. Not the Retraction Helix, but everything else to... So wait for a Wave Crash Triton. Just try to have strong units reach the tower. Homunculus isn't a strong unit, but it's something to play. In 15 seconds, I don't think I can even play more than one more unit. It's going to be the Howling Golem, but my Planeswalkers died, so I don't think that Terrain Elemental alone is going to take this tower. Oh my gosh, maybe. Wow. In the last 2 seconds, I did actually take that Sub-Guardian. So now what I have to do is not let all of these units in the bottom lane reach my main Guardian, but at the same time, in the next 30 seconds, if possible, I can get my opponent's second Sub-Guardian and win the game. But I think I'm shooting for a tie. Yeah, I don't think this game is headed to a win for me, but that's okay. Oh, yikes. Wow, I'm just very, very surprised that the plays in the lower lane allowed me to, or were just enough in the last second of the game. The Terrain Elemental was just enough to secure the first Sub-Guardian and get me this draw. But it was very close. Wow. So make sure that you are, if you're a free-to-play player like me, playing all the events. I know I said that I missed the standard event, which is disappointing, but these are just free rewards. You have a free entry, and everything I'm earning right now is pure profit for, I mean, I guess a time investment, but I'm playing the game anyway. And I'm enjoying what's happening. I think I'm going to go with Koth, because I just think that he's the strongest out of the options. Shivan Dragon is going to wreck the Clockwork Beetles. I can't give my opponent Skull Catapult. This is zombifies a single allied creature, so that's fine. I don't think I'll use the Comets very much, but maybe. Vent Sentinel, so... Yeah, Jarl's Messenger will be really annoying, but I think I'll be able to answer it with Vent Sentinel, so I'm going to do that. What is this one for my opponent? Sacrifice allies to summon Judge Skeletons in front of the main Guardian. That's very good, where for me, because it's not too powerful. Whereas Sanctifier of Souls is probably more valuable than the Devil, so I'll take set 1. Most of the time, you don't care about your main Guardian, so the Skeletons in front of the main Guardian is going to be, should be a dead card for my opponent. However, this opponent, which I doubt you'll be able to see, has a purple gem under their Sorin, so they are a very experienced Sorin player. I still think that the spell's bad. It's just junk. So I think it was the right choice. Alright. I think I'll let my opponent start this one. Okay, wow. So we have Tailless Paladin and Sorin right away, but I have plenty of units here to respond to them. The Vivien Dragon is just going to eat up those angels. And wow, my opponent gave me a Swashbuckler, and I love the Swashbuckler. So the fact that Koth is still alive here and was pulled to the tower, wow. I think I'm going to have this game pretty in my control here. So is that the third Sorin? I think my opponent played Sorin right away to try to answer my push. So if that was my opponent's third Sorin, then I probably have already won this game. Just to be safe, I'm not going to play Koth unless necessary. And for now, I'm going to defend my tower. But eventually, if I can build a mana and card advantage throughout the next minute and a half, I will try to go get a second Sub-Guardian just to steal out the game. Oh, 6 mana there for something that Vivien Dragon is going to, once again, just literally eat. I don't think Grave Titan can attack air, so the Clockwork Beetle are an amazing response to it. Well, so he's strong enough that they didn't kill, the Clockwork Beetle didn't kill the Grave Titan very quickly. But like I said, I had the card and mana advantage there to take the second Sub-Guardian, and now I don't think there's any way my opponent comes back. So I'm not going to... I mean, I still have 3 Koth, so fine. I mean, let's just get a 3-0 win, I guess. Yeah. So games aren't always decided early. In the best games, there's a lot of back and forth, but in these early draft games, and it could just be my opponents, each of my draft games so far has been decided by one mistake or misplay, or sometimes it's just random who the creatures on board decide to attack. But all my games so far have been decided by something early in the game that gives one player an almost insurmountable advantage. Okay, I'm going to go with Vivien again. She is a blast to play. And I don't have much experience with green, so... Homunculus is probably just as good as the Hadron Scouts, accounted for cost, of course. But the Howling Golem is going to be much better than the High Tide Hermit, so I'll take set 1. Giving my opponent Clockwork Beetle isn't great, but giving my opponent Wavecrash Triton is worse, so I'm going to go with set 1. I just need to make sure I have some ranged units. Walking Ballista is a ranged unit, and Hadron Scouts are going to be annoying but not impossible. Yeah, I think I'm going to give my opponent Wargate again. Even though I guess I'd prefer Ratchet Bomb. Yeah, I would absolutely prefer Ratchet Bomb there, but Wargate is just going to be such a dead card that it's worth it to give it to my opponent, because Giant Growth it's going to help, at least at some point, whether that's tower damage or defense, because it makes the unit bigger. So my card isn't dead, but my opponent's is. Wow, so we have Overrun. The cards in my dock aren't very impressive. All right, my opponent has a lot of flying, and luckily, Vivien does. She does do flying damage or air damage. I don't know if Nissa does. I don't know if Nissa's ranged. That would actually be a very, very key difference between the two. Alright, please, Howling Golem land in front of the Planeswalker. He does. I'm going to Giant Growth on the Howling Golem to try to keep it alive. Hopefully Rolling Slime hits the Planeswalker here. My Planeswalker's dead to the Sphinx, so that's unfortunate that my opponent has a Sphinx, but can't get everything. Okay, so my opponent is sending in his flyers again. I'm going to use Nissa's ability just to not lose this Sub-Guardian. Wow, so, okay, I'm way behind. I didn't realize how behind I really was here. My opponent has a whole Sub-Guardian of mine, but I don't have theirs. And I really thought that wow, the Sphinx, though. I really didn't know how highly my Sub-Guardian was damaged. Wow, so Teferi can attack ranged units. Alright, so what I'm going to do right now is build as much of a push as I can. Starting from the back, and hopefully everything can make it to the Sub-Guardian in 30 seconds. Overrun here should be pretty good against his ground units. I don't know that I should have played Hornet's Nest. What I'm trying to build to is another Overrun to take out the Teferi and damage the tower, but it's not going to be enough. If I could have made 2 of those big pushes throughout the game, maybe I would have had the Sub-Guardian, and if I had been paying attention to how much damage my Sub-Guardian was taking, I would have been better prepared for when I lost it, but I was not paying attention to the whole game, and I just assumed that I was playing defensively enough when I was not. So that's an unfortunate loss, but Teferi and Vivien are probably equal on power, especially in draft, I guess. When Teferi can play the buildings for mana, that probably makes him very good. This queue's taken a while. There we go. I think we found a game. Yep. Alright, let's play Teferi. I've never used Teferi before. I've played white-blue. But let's just see what kind of cards we can get from him. This is the... Oh, it's the zombie? Alright, I'll do it. Spectral Procession is pretty good. I don't want Ana the Pure, especially if I give my opponent a Doomblade, so I'm going to do this one, even though the Skull Catapult's going to be very frustrating. Souls, I think I'm going to take the Souls with the Barracks because I don't want to give my opponent a Reaver Demon, and 6 is a lot, so side 2 is not very attractive. So I'll take set 1. This is the Skeletons one, and I think the Skeletons card is way worse for my opponent than the Beetles. And the Angel isn't that much better. I mean, it's better, but it's not that much better for me than the Griffin, so I'll take set 1 again. Okay. So facing up pure black. Liliana. Let's see what else I got. Oh, they gave me a Haunted Guardian. So, and a Retraction Helix. Alright, what is this? Exiles a unit with high HSP from the battlefield. So I think that in this game, exile just means it'll come back in a sec. Alright, so I'm gonna... I'm not gonna play Teferi yet. Alright, I think I have a tentative plan. Play all the stuff. And then, ooh. It's not Waygate, but Retraction Helix it down to the other side of the battlefield. So I got Circle of Pain. Actually, no, that's just Liliana's effect. Alright, let's play the Knight of Nubenalia. Let's get a Griffin out there. Let's get a Ninja out there. And then play the Retraction Helix here. Boom. So Teferi heals all this HP. My opponent can't really respond, but at the same time, I can't particularly respond to what my opponent's doing. So, Exile should give me a second to recover some mana, but I have to play Spectral Procession on my own side of the battlefield to answer these two units. My tower is pretty damaged, and I probably could have prevented at least some of it if I had played better, but actually my opponent's Sub-Guardian is almost gone. Wow. So Teferi there was pretty powerful, but more specifically, the Retraction Helix gimmick just confused my opponent and didn't give them enough mana to respond. So I thought that was pretty fun. Usually Retraction Helix is bad and it's almost a dead card, but I specifically planned for it. I'll take Teferi again, but give myself a second to talk. I specifically placed extra units right on top of my other ones so that they would all get Retraction Helix at the same time. So that was planning on my part in addition to the random card that I got. Alright. Giving my opponent a Ratchet Bomb or a Haunted Guardian. I think that the Retraction Helix is not a card I want to pick. So I'll take the Enclave Elite. Give my opponent the Haunted Guardian. Give my opponent one of two buildings. Yeah, the Ninja's better for me, so I'm going to take set 1. Homunculus and Fire Shrine Keeper, or Airdrop Aeronauts and Clockwork Beetle. I guess I'd rather give my opponent the Fire Shrine Keeper. I don't think the Airdrop Aeronauts are good enough. Path to Exile is bad, not worth the Doomblade, so I'll take this one. At least I don't have Retraction Helix and Wargate. That would be horrible, but I don't know that Wargate's going to be any good for me. Let's see what it does once it gets in my dock. I don't know that I can summon a Planeswalker through the Wargate, but my opponent did give me a Core Entangler. So I think I'm going to want to Wargate the Ninja. Probably, and I have Hysterical Blindness. Wow, this deck is going to be, oh no, Shivan Dragon. Yeah, I mean, things are going to be very, very difficult with this deck. I don't have a tank, and I don't have any buildings. creatures excluding planeswalkers. So when my opponent has really mana'd out so that they can't respond, I think I'm going to do Wargate Ninja. But that means that I don't want to spend too much of my own mana. So, in addition to the Ninja, Core Entangler has a lot of attack. I think someone told me that Core Entangler has the same attack as the Ninja. So, I want to put out as many units in the Wargate as possible. Wow, I tried to use Clockwork Beetle to answer the Shivon Dragon, but Shivon Dragon turned around and killed them. So, yeah, I mean, I haven't played a Ninja at all. Alright, let's do this. Wargate, Ninja, Core Entangler, Homunculus. And then I'm using Teferi here and everything else that I have, with Hysterical Blindness even, to try to not die. So it was pretty bad. My opponent did a lot of damage to the main Guardian. No, oh my gosh. Oh, that was markedly bad. I let the Howling Golem closer to my tower. Okay, so it's sudden death. I think there's a chance that another Wargate play can win me the game. Ninja, Core Entangler, Homunculus, Enclave Elite. So in that order for the cycle, if it ever happens. Come on, Enclave Elite. Wow. So it did work. I don't know why my opponent didn't play more stuff in response. They did actually have a response that time, because the first time it just took out their entire tower. Also, I got Wargate as my card here, so just like Retraction Helix, the Wargate was another sneaky combat trick that actually won me the game. So I don't know. It makes me pretty happy to have won both games like that with the gimmick, but at the same time, playing evenly throughout the game, I was way behind. And in both games, it was only the gimmick that won me the game. Now, should you feel bad about that? No, but okay, my conclusion here is that don't pick the gimmick cards if you have a choice. And you'll notice that I didn't pick Retraction Helix last game, and I don't pick Wargate when I can avoid it. Because if you're only winning through the gimmicks, then if your opponent does respond, you lose. I'd rather have a more evenly matched game than a, Hail Mary prayer. So, I'm going to go with Vivien again, because I'm never going to own her, so might as well play in the draft with her. So Vengevine versus a tower. The tower is going to be pretty bad, but I think the Howling Golem only attacks buildings. Alright, so I'll take building card with building card. I can't give my opponent the Sphinx, so it's going to be set 2. Electrostatic Pummeler is going to totally beat the Hadron Scouts every time, and the Sylvan Advocate is a very good card, so I'll take the Sylvan Advocate. Give my opponent a Haunted Guardian or an Icefall Dragon. That's a tricky question. So do I want the Pummeler or the Clockwork Beetle? Can Pummeler do... I think I need the... No, if I give my opponent the dragon, then I really need the ranged. The Sylvan Advocate attacks air units, so that's why I chose the second option, is I didn't want to give my opponent another air unit for me to deal with. Alright, a purple gem Jace. So my opponent is pretty familiar with Jace as a Planeswalker. Gave me Overrun. Wow. Oh boy. Okay, so my opponent is starting off intense. Let's Rolling Slime the Jace. I don't need to play Sylvan Advocate, actually. I'll play Overrun just to finish off Jace. But it looks like that was done pretty well. And wow, is Jace going to die here? Okay, 2 Planeswalkers answered with just 1 Vivien. And my opponent has Retraction Helix. Okay, so in addition, Vivien answered partially the 3rd Jace. So my opponent now has no more Planeswalkers, and it's been a minute. Only. That's extremely unfortunate that the ability dropped not facing the tower, but I think it's going to be irrelevant. I have so much pressure here, and my opponent doesn't have a Planeswalker. I'm going to build on what exists, and add the Howling Golem, and just try to win this one 3-0 before the 1 minute mark, or before the ManaStrike time. Just to seal this game out. So that's what I'm talking about with green and Vivien specifically. Once you get to a point that can't be answered, you just win. Okay, that's a dumb summary of it. But green builds an unanswerable push very easily with its tank units and strong attacks. It's just that you have to invest a lot into it. And you saw my Sub-Guardian almost died really early. I was able to turn that around and win the game. I'm really enjoying green at the moment, but Vraska isn't too great, so I'll play another Kiora. These, my choices are kind of repetitive today. I would like, a Garruk or a Khalees. Those would be fun options to try in green. I don't really want to give my opponent a Doomblade for the gimmick card, so I'll do set 2. Don't really want to give my opponent a Dross Messenger, but I want even less a Waygate. And also the Ratchet Bomb's pretty strong, so I'll take set 1. I think Lord of Lineage, or I don't know what his normal card name is just going to be too powerful for the Rolling Slime, so I'll do set 1. And then I don't really want to give my opponent a Howling Golem, but the Slime is probably good enough, whereas set 1, the bird does not balance out the Clockwork Beetles. So, set 2. Okay, a Liliana, so she's going to be pure black. Let's hope she doesn't have Skull Catapult. Taking a while to load. But keep in mind that this opponent is 6'2", if that's what I am. In theory, my opponent should be the same win record as me. So I have Hysterical Blindness, and they gave me a Sphinx. Wow, they better have some very powerful cards to give me the Sphinx. Oh, Reaver Demon with the Lord. So Sphinx out should hopefully handle most of those guys. It looks like I am going to have a problem with air units in this game. I don't have too much that actually damages air units. Okay, let's play the Slime. Dross Messenger made it to my tower. I thought he killed it in his own territory. It's fine. It didn't do too much damage. we have about the same tower damage as each other right now, so I'm comfortable with it being even after this much time. And now I've seen his cards, so I don't really need the Howling Golem. Kiora's going to be pretty good against this AoE stuff. Actually, I will play the Howling Golem as a tank, because it only attacks units and moves slowly. So it allows other units to sit behind it and attack the enemies. So he played Crows, probably going to get... I should get Reaver Demon soon. Maybe not. Maybe my opponent is saving it. Alright, I was hoping that they would attack the building and not Kiora. But this is getting really tricky. My opponent is doing chip damage on my tower, such that my tower is way more damaged than my opponent's is. So I'm hoping that right now this push does some damage on the... enough damage on the Sub-Guardian. Alright, come on, Howling Golem. Actually, I kind of need to take out the Sub-Guardian. Dural's Messenger is going to defeat my building eventually. So I'm saving for Sphinx right now. Boom. And then Walking Ballista should be pretty good. Kiora's down. But I have to be very careful that I get a barracks back for the Dural's Messenger. Because otherwise Dural's Messenger will hit my tower and I will lose the game now that it's sudden death. No, Dural's Messenger. Oh my god. Okay, so once again, I need another barracks at some point, so I'm playing the cheapest cards that I have to try to get back to the barracks eventually, because barracks are going to protect my tower. Now, actually, I have enough units out there that I could conceivably take the tower. No, my Planeswalker died. So I'm headed for a draw right now. My goal is a draw, because I don't think if I place a Howling Golem, it'll reach the tower in time. Actually, with the ranged units here, they might damage the Sub-Guardian enough to win. Wow, the barracks, whatever unit the barracks summon, with 2 Walking Ballista, since they were ranged, they attacked the Sub-Guardian and won the game for me. But I was playing just to draw. I was trying to just puke out barracks as fast as possible, so that the building attack units would not hit my tower. And without a direct damage spell, my opponent lost the game. Now, if they had a Ratchet Bomb or something, I think I could have given them a Ratchet Bomb. If they had a Ratchet Bomb, I would have lost. But they didn't. They had tower creatures, which I could block. So. Alright, let's go with Teferi. Yeah, I've been liking him enough so far. And none of the other Planeswalkers really interest me to play right now, so... Enclave Elite versus the Vampire, or give my opponent a Swashbuckler. We can assume at 7-2 my opponent's probably pretty good, so I'll take set 1. The Vampire's worse, and I don't want to give them the card. Haunted Guardian's nice, Barracks are nice, but if I give them the Goblin Artillery, answers the Barracks. I think I will still do that, though. One of us gets an Electrostatic Pummeler here, and the answer is, or the other option is, do I take the Sanctifier of Souls, or do I give my opponent the Elite? I think I give my opponent the Enclave Elite. And do I want the Kraken, or do I give them the Comet? The Comets are pretty bad because they only attack towers, so I'll give my opponent the Comets and take the Spectral Procession, which Spectral Procession is also a very good card. So, a Will Rowan player. Yeah, I think the Barracks were pretty good against a Will Rowan. We're a good choice against a Will Rowan Planeswalker. Alright. And, oh, is this... I think that this tower isn't actually the barracks. Yeah, no, that's the barracks. Okay, wait, then what is this? I don't know. Did that say C barracks? Is that what that's called? Alright, well I played the Enclave Elite too far back. I need an answer to the Icefall Dragon. Alright, so the more that I look at this, the more that this deck is clearly a swarm deck. It just happens that the way it's been built. Now, Rowan, the Rowan side of the Planeswalker is very good. She does AoE damage. Very good against this. So I'm going to have to be careful not to play into that. But I haven't actually been pressured enough to play a Planeswalker, so I'll just send it out here now. I shouldn't have played the Aeronauts. So what my goal is eventually is to move... wow, even with the Honor the Pure spell, it increases the move speed and attack of all allies in the area. So I think that I want to build a giant group of... a giant group of units, of little units that are weak on their own, and then cast Honor the Pure and Teferi to heal them, and overwhelm. So I'll play Spectral Procession back here, and just overwhelm my opponent. I need a small unit. Enclave Elite will do it to answer the Goblin Artillery. And look at that, they did swarm and get a Sub-Guardian there. So I have 2 buildings, which is making it very, very difficult for my opponent to damage my tower enough. I do have to protect the upper Sub-Guardian. Because there's no buildings there right now, but I mean, I've done a ton of damage to the upper Sub-Guardian of my opponent, so even if I lost a tower there, I would have won the game eventually. So that was pretty fun. I would honestly try that maybe with Dovin in Constructed. No, I think that there's just too many answers with Ratchet Bomb specifically and other AoE spells and things like that. Tezzeret would really crush that deck. But drafting a Swarm deck that my opponent couldn't really respond to, that was a pretty fun game. So I'm 8-2 right now, and you max out at 9 wins. So this has been a pretty good video. This will probably be the last game, whether I win or lose. Now I could always draw and have to play another one after this, but I hope you were able to learn something about the draft. I've learned small lessons throughout the different games. I think I'll take Vivien again. She's been pretty fun so far. Yeah, I mean, this draft was a blast. Usually I go 3-3, so... Alright, give my opponent Core Entangler, which I don't want, or give my opponent Exile and take Overrun. I don't really want to Overrun, but I think Overrun's better than my opponent having Core Entangler. I think I'll take set 2. Tailless Paladin is strong, but green doesn't really run debuffs, and what he does is he can't be debuffed, so I'll take the strong Dusk Ranger for it. Hornet's Nest isn't great. Giant Spider is good, but sorry, I'm a little behind, so I'm just going to pick set 2. So for the last 2 choices, choice 3, my opponent's card was strong but handleable, and choice 4, that Comet card is not good, whereas the Ratchet Bomb is good. So That's why I took those two. I missed what Planeswalker my opponent is playing. We'll see. Wow, Phoenix Nest. Okay, Nahiri. I think that I can answer Nahiri with just the 2 units that I have. Well, okay. Not the... Oh, no. Nahiri's ability kept her alive for a sec. So I've taken a lot more damage on my tower than I had to. So with Fog here, anything in the circle can't be attacked by ranged. I thought, maybe not. I'm a little confused about that. So I'm playing Vivien because... I have seen 2 Nahiris and been able to answer them both with just mana, so I'm way ahead in that regard. And so that was all 3 Nahiris, and I have 2 Vivien left. So I'm going to use... Wow, a Comet for 1. I'm going to use what I have to attack the lower lane. Alright, apparently not. I don't want to take damage, so upper lane it is. Hopefully the Terrain Elemental can tank. I don't know really how much health it has. But I'm ready to play the Ratchet Bomb, Nahiri's ability. Okay, Daybreak Ranger right next to the tower is insane. He's going to become a werewolf. So Nahiri's ability on the Inferno Giant. And also it damaged the tower because it goes through. So that was all really good. The werewolf, alright, it took out the tower. I was prepared to Ratchet Bomb the tower again. Another Comet for 1, so my opponent, I think, has given up. I have 2 more Planeswalkers, plus the one I'm going to get in ManaStrike. So I don't want to waste her, because I don't want to lose the Sub-Guardian. But at the same time, my opponent just played up Phoenix Nest, so I think they've pretty much given up. I'm just sending in as much as I can to the lower Sub-Guardian right now, because I think I'll just take it, make this game 2-0, and secure the win. Yeah, so 30 seconds left with... Whoops. Forcing my opponent to take 2 Sub-Guardians, it's not going to happen. So just keep playing cards to make sure that I don't lose. I have many Planeswalkers left. So my opponent played Nahiri and didn't back it up, and then played it again, and so lost all of her Planeswalker cards. And then I was able to just slowly control the pace of the game and take 1 Sub-Guardian after the next and seal out my 9-2 draft. So that was very great. Alright, receive the reward. I had to claim the 9th win reward before I can get the event rewards. Alright, so I had a great time. I can't believe I went 9-2. Draft is wonderful because anyone can do it. All cards are level 1. All Planeswalkers are level 1, I believe. So nothing, or they might not be level 1, but everything is equal footing. So it's really just your skill versus your opponent's skills, and you get to pick amongst the 5 Planeswalkers. Teferi and Vivien seem pretty powerful in draft mode, and that's not surprising. Vivien's ability is super clutch with the extra damage arrows, and she's ranged. In addition, green does have strong cards available. It's just that they needed a strong Planeswalker to back it up. So again, in draft, Vivien's a wonderful choice. I think I'd still take Dovin over Teferi in draft. His ability does some heal, which is nice, but Dovin's ability is a debuff where it reduces their attack and speed, so they're the same color set, and white-blue's a strong color set anyway. So let me know in the comments if you like the draft, like the events. we can see that the next event is going to start tomorrow. So they are actually moving events out to the weekdays and a little more consistently. So thank you for watching. Please like the video if you are enjoying the content. Subscribe to the channel. I appreciate you, and thanks for watching.